I've got white bread, the stuff you get in the supermarket, the stuff you get in your bun in McDonald's and so on. It's just rubbish, really. Super high in energy, very high in energy. Maybe not a problem if you're looking to gain weight, super active, but along with that energy, you're not getting any sort of nutrition whatsoever. There's just nothing good in there, and you're getting loads and loads of toxins. Not only you've got toxins from the wheat, but you're buying cheap bread, probably full of all sorts of additives, preservatives, who knows what. And you can't see on the bottom of the graph, but I don't think it really tastes that good either. It's about sort of making a risk assessment. It's not an optimum food. You don't have to eat the best foods all the time necessarily, but can you make another choice? Got on here sourdough bread. Tastes much, much better than cheap, nasty bread. Because of the preparation process, it's got much lower toxins in there because these have been broken down by the longer fermentation process. Get a decent loaf from a proper bakery. It's got more sort of realish ingredients in there. And there's more nutrient density because of the, again, more traditional techniques. They've been developed to release more nutrition from the food. So if you're going to eat something, between these two choices, you're going to eat the one that doesn't taste as good, has got more toxins in it, and less nutrition, or you're going to eat the one that tastes better. It still might not be the best food, it's not as good as eating a steak, but you're going to get some nutrition in there and it's not going to be quite as bad for you. Similar, nothing wrong with having a sweet treat now and again, but choice between eating something like a donut, which is just white flour, sugar, vegetable oils, deep fried, horrendous for you, like really, really horrendous health-wise. How good does it taste? Maybe it tastes good, maybe it doesn't. An alternative, eat a homemade cake that's made with free-range organic eggs, grass-fed butter, maybe we've got some nuts in there, some chocolate, some actual real food. You might actually get a little bit of nutrition from there, and it probably tastes better as well. So my point is, really, it's not to tell you what to eat and what not to eat, but it's just to have a little bit of a think about what it is you're eating, what is in there, and what effects is it going to have on your body. And if you are just eating something, is there another option that might fulfill the same pleasure sort of reward thing? It might taste as good, but might be slightly more nutritious or less harmful to you, basically. Because there is no perfect diet, basically. There's many different factors that can affect what effects the food is going to have on your body. One of the goals, I mentioned this before, if your goal is fat loss, then you're probably not going to want to eat rice and potatoes because you get loads of calories, very little nutrition. But equally, if you're super active, want to put on some muscle, maybe you want to eat those foods because they're cheap, they're convenient, there's nothing really toxic in there, and providing you're eating some, animal foods with them, you're going to get that necessary essential nutrition. Genetics, again, this plays a big part. I touched on this before. Some people are super, super sensitive to gluten, for example. If you eat bread and it makes you feel like crap, obviously don't eat bread, it's ridiculous. And said that, if you've got pretty robust genetics, having a croissant once in a while or something isn't going to do you any harm. Your health, again, if you're in really bad health, then you're going to want to keep your diet as clean as possible, try and nourish yourself, try and repair your body. Whereas if you are in perfect health, good health, again, you can get away with a little bit more flexibility with your diet. Taste's important as well. On that table before, I had a few different examples. I had grass-fed beef steak as a good example of a nutrient-dense food. If you really don't like beef steak, then eat fish instead. There's always different choices you can make based on your own personal preferences. Lifestyle, again, people can become too focused and too obsessed on diet and just let it ruin their lives, basically, because I'm not going to that restaurant because I don't want to eat that, and you end up missing out on, social situations, which can have a lot of positive impact on your life. So just being able to be a bit more flexible, but then when you are out places, just make more informed decisions. Budget, again, maybe you can't afford to eat grass-fed beef steak every single day, you've got to make some compromises somewhere. So, using that sort of judgment just to find a diet that fits your monetary budget as well. And then availability, sometimes you've got to make do with what you can get. If you're out and about, you might not be able to get a grass-fed beef steak, so you might have to go for something else instead. So just thinking about what foods you eat and why you eat them, that's the important thing. So just moving on slightly now, I've banged on about grass-fed beef steak quite a lot, and that's because equally important as what you eat is what you eats. Just as I mentioned there that the food that you eat is taken apart and put together as you, so the food you eats, confusing myself now, also does the same. So the diet of the animals that you eat, or the way the crops are produced that you eat, has a massive impact on the quality of the food itself. So we've got benefits of pastured meat and wild fish. Basically, pastured meat is free-range meat that is allowed to go out and roam and eat its natural diet. So cows should eat grass, sheep should eat grass, chickens and pigs should be able to forage and scratch for whatever it is they want, eat an omnivorous diet. Unfortunately, a lot of industrially produced meat is just force-fed grains to fatten them up quickly. And if that happens, it has lots of negative effects. The meat ends up, I've made a typing error there, lower in omega-3 fats, that should say, so less of the essential fatty acids. Oh no, I'm confusing myself. Yeah, this is the benefits of the grass-fed beef. So the benefits of the grass-fed beef is it is lower in omega-6 fats, the fats that are just prevalent in all the processed foods nowadays and just really bad news for your health. Much higher in micronutrients because they're eating the natural diet, lush green grass. That's what gets converted into all the vitamins and minerals. Higher in protein because there's most of the meat you get is from like obese, sickly cows, just not good. Much lower risk of food poisoning from them, just from better animal husbandry practices. The cows you get from these industrial farms is just, the conditions are so bad, they're chronically infected with diseases and they have to use just routine antibiotics, which then grows antibiotic-resistant strains of bacteria. It's just seriously bad news and not nice at all. Tastes better. Going back to this thing, taste is important. It's important to eat food that tastes good, and well-reared animals just taste so much better. Animal welfare, better for the animals, happy meat, karmic justice and all that. It's also better for the environment, much less use of pesticides and fossil fuels and so on, and better for your local economy as well if you buy it local. Just get money back in there, support your local businesses.